And we're back. God, I hate it that happened. And to all 17 of you who made it back this quickly, hi, glad to have you back. God, 300, 400, 500 people just left out in the cold all of a sudden. Hey everybody, welcome back, welcome back. Sorry that you had to ditch the last live stream and migrate to this one. Welcome back, welcome back. Hey, we'll do exactly what we did last time and just wait a couple minutes, or maybe just 1 minute for everybody to come back. God, I hate it when that happens. And I'm sorry. I obviously, I'm not the one who sabotaged the streaming software, the internet connection. It really sucks when that happens, but unfortunately, it just happens. It just happens every now and then. Fortunately, it doesn't happen often. And that never happened on this channel before. I would like to say it never happened, but now I can. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, for those of you who want to tell me that the last stream was going all right. Well, two things. First of all, the video was lagging. The audio in the video was out of sync, and it wasn't fixing itself. And also, I have a little window in the corner of my screen that shows me what you guys see, and it was frozen. So some of you might say that it was fine, there was no problem, but what I was seeing was a frozen screen. And so I don't care if it was working for you. It was not working for me, so I just shut it down and started up another stream. So thank you guys for stopping over to this second one. Again, I hate that happened. I absolutely hate that happened. These things are supposed to be fun. You guys are taking time out of your busy day to participate in this stream, and then it just shits the bed. And we have to start the video all over again. See, someone named Timmy said it was frozen. Alright, well, I can't wait around I don't want to wait around too long for everybody to make it back. But don't joke around about it being frozen again, man. Please don't do that. I don't want to wait around too long for everybody to make it back. I'll wait another 30, 45 seconds or so. Again, I'm sorry, guys. Are you guys ready to start the video? Unfortunately, we're going to have to start the video all over again from the beginning. But, you know, as long as you guys are all right with that. Wow, language. Sorry for the bad language. Sorry. It's just, I'm a little frustrated that the last stream crapped out. Somebody named James said, dude, you're giving my day way too much credit. I have literally nothing going on. Alright, guys, are we ready? Let's get the video up and running again. From the top. Are we ready or are we not ready? And who would not be ready? I feel really bad for anyone who's just stopping by the channel now. Not only are they trying to figure out what this stream is about, they'll be really confused if they didn't know that the previous stream just crashed, and that's what we're talking about now. Alright, guys. Yeah, sorry for cussing. I know I don't do that often on the channel. I shouldn't do it on the channel. It's not very professional, but never mind. Sorry if anybody was offended, which was probably 2 of you. Alright, without any further ado, let's start the video again. Pray that we make it to the end this time. Like I said last time, I'll see you on the other side. Enjoy, everybody. Enjoy. On September 12, 2019, the third Democratic primary debate for the 2020 presidential election took place on ABC, and as is common practice during such an occasion, a lot of questions were not given simple, straight answers, if they were even answered at all. Let's have a look at a few of them, starting simple with the very first question, which was asked of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Both Senators Warren and Sanders want to replace Obamacare with Medicare for all. You want to build on Obamacare, not scrap it. They propose spending far more than you to combat climate change and tackle student loan debt, and they would raise more in taxes than you to pay for their programs. Are Senators Warren and Sanders pushing too far, beyond where Democrats want to go and where the country needs to go?
There's the question. Basically, Biden is being asked for his political opinion of policies which are more progressive than his.
That'll be for the voters to decide that question.
This was a fairly innocent dodge. What Biden implied with this answer is that it doesn't really matter what his opinion is. He stands where he stands, the other candidates stand where they stand, and whoever gets the most votes is the nominee. Who cares where he thinks the party needs to go? So it's an excusable sidestepping of the question, but a sidestepping nonetheless.
Will middle-class taxes go up to pay for the program? I know you believe that the deductibles and the premiums will go down. Will middle-class taxes go up? Will private insurance be eliminated?
Here, Senator Elizabeth Warren was asked if taxes would increase for those in the middle class to pay for her healthcare proposal. Fundamentally, this is a yes or no question. Not to say that she can't elaborate, but listen for the initial yes or no.
Will middle-class taxes go up? Will private insurance be eliminated?
Look, what families have to deal with is cost, total cost.
Something very simple yet easy to miss just happened. The question was rephrased in a couple of ways. First, the middle class was substituted with families. Second, the term taxes was substituted with the term costs. So in the end, Senator Warren never actually says whether taxes will go up for the middle class, but rather that costs will go down for families.
Costs are going to go up for wealthier individuals, and costs are going to go up for giant corporations. But for hard-working families across this country, costs are going to go down, and that's how it should work.
Flashback. If you feel stuck in the middle of the extremes in our politics and you are tired of the noise and the nonsense, you've got a home with me.
End of flashback.
Senator Klobuchar, you said in your opening statement you want to represent the people stuck in the middle of the extremes. Who represents the extreme on this stage?
This is a very simple question, and much like the first question to Joe Biden, Amy Klobuchar is not being asked for her policies, but for her political opinion. Fair enough, she did claim to represent those between the extremes, so somebody on this stage must represent one of those extremes. The question is, who?
I think you know that I don't agree with some of these proposals up here, George. So I'm talking
Which
about
ones?
if I could respond to some of the proposals from my friends.
That was easy.
In recent days, former Vice President Biden has said about executive orders, some really talented people are seeking the nomination. They said, I'm going to issue an executive order. Biden saying there's no constitutional authority to issue that executive order when they say I'm going to eliminate assault weapons, saying you can't do it by executive order any more than Trump can do things when he says he can do it by executive order. Does the Vice President have a point there?
Now here, Kamala Harris was asked to counter an argument made by Vice President Biden. Harris has proposed banning a type of weapon by issuing an executive order should she be president. But Biden has argued that that's unconstitutional. It's legally impossible.
Does the Vice President have a point there?
A few things happened during Harris's answer. First, she invokes Barack Obama's 2008 campaign slogan. Second, she states that she has seen a lot of homicide victims. Third, she mentions that Congress hasn't yet acted on this issue. Fourth, she mentions that children go through drills at schools. Fifth, she compliments Beto O'Rourke. And lastly, she criticizes Donald Trump. But she never quite counters Joe Biden's argument.
Well, I mean, I would just say, hey, Joe, instead of saying, no, we can't, let's say, yes, we can.
Let's be constitutional. We got a
And
constitution.
yes, we can, because I'll tell you something. The way that I think about this is I've seen more autopsy photographs than I care to tell you. I have attended more police officer funerals than I care to tell you. I have hugged more mothers of homicide victims than I care to tell you. And the idea that we would wait for this Congress, which has just done nothing, to act is just, it is overlooking the fact that every day in America, our babies are going to school to have drills, elementary, middle, and high school students.
Where they are learning about how they have to hide in a closet or crouch in a corner if there is a mass shooter roaming the hallways of their school. I was talking about this at one of my town halls, and this child, who was 8 years old probably, came up to me. It was like it was a secret between the two of us, and he tugged on my jacket and he said, I had to have one of those drills.
It is traumatizing our children. El Paso and Beto, God love you for standing so courageously in the midst of that tragedy. You know, people asked me in El Paso, they said, you know, because I have a long-standing record on this issue, they said, well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition. People may not vote for me.
No, I agree with that.
One of the things that Harris included in her answer was an anecdote, a short, interesting, or amusing story related to a particular topic. When Senator Harris mentioned the 8-year-old boy she spoke to or the mothers of homicide victims that she's hugged, those were examples of anecdotes. And that was part of the answer given by Cory Booker when he was asked this question.
You have argued if you need a license to drive a car in this country, you should have a license to buy a gun. Gun owners would not only have to pass a background check, they would have to obtain a federal license to buy a gun. This would require, as you know, Congress to pass legislation. If Democrats can't get universal background checks, how would you get this done? And can you name one Republican colleague of yours in the Senate right now who would be on board with this idea?
Now, this is a question that practically no Democrat would want to answer. The question essentially goes, well, if your party failed last time, how do we know you're not going to fall flat on your face next time? So, how does Cory Booker answer this question? He tells an anecdote about the time he moved to Newark, New Jersey 20 years ago.
This is the issue. Look, I grew up in the suburbs. It was about 20 years ago that I came out of my home when I moved to inner city Newark, New Jersey, and witnessed the aftermath of a shooting.
Already, this sounds like a dodge. However, during his answer, Senator Booker does address the question that he was asked.
You want to know how we get this done? We get this done by having a more courageous empathy where people don't wait for this hell to visit upon their communities. We must awaken a more courageous empathy in this country so that we stand together and fight together.
Again, the question basically asked, how are Democrats going to succeed at something that they failed at last time? A more courageous empathy, stand together, fight together, doesn't answer that question, obviously. So the question was asked a second time. And the second answer was what you might call word salad.
A quick follow-up, though, because Americans watching tonight know the reality of Congress in Washington. I asked, do you have a Republican colleague in the Senate who would be on board with this idea to get this done?
You know, if that was the attitude when Strom Thurmond had the longest filibuster ever on civil rights, if it was this idea that we can't get it done because of the situation in the Senate, I'm looking to lead a movement. The number one reason why governments are formed is to protect the citizenry.
Sometimes, when a candidate sidesteps a question, they do it using a lot of words, much like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker. But sometimes, they don't use very many words at all.
In an interview 8 months ago, you were asked what to do with the so-called overstayers, people who come with a visa and then stay. And you said, I don't know. Do you have an answer now?
To Beto O'Rourke's credit, he addresses the question, but then quickly ditches it using a very simple technique. He simply posits a different question himself. See if you can catch the moment when that happens.
Do you have an answer now?
I do, and if you read the rest of that article in the Washington Post, I talked about harmonizing our entry-exit system with Mexico in the same way that we do with Canada. I think that could help us to keep a handle on visa overstays, but I think the larger question that we're trying to get at is how do we rewrite this country's immigration laws in our own image?
Then, once he's put forward a more general question, he flatters the city that he's currently in.
In the image of Houston, Texas, the most diverse city in the United States of America.
So, as we've observed, avoiding a question is a very simple matter of either rephrasing the question by replacing certain terms, speaking for a very long time until the initial question is likely forgotten, or offering random praise to pacify the audience and the viewers at home. With all of this in mind, let's observe one more question.
In a conversation about how to deal with segregation in schools back in 1975, you told a reporter, I don't feel responsible for the sins of my father and grandfather. I feel responsible for what the situation is today, for the sins of my own generation, and I'll be damned if I feel responsible to pay for what happened 300 years ago. You said that some 40 years ago. But as you stand here tonight, what responsibility do you think that Americans need to take to repair the legacy of slavery in our country?
The following answer darts in many different directions, so to keep up with where it goes, we'll just pause briefly each time the answer changes direction.
Well, they have to deal with look.
Okay, bumpy start. Now the answer begins.
There is institutional segregation in this country. And from the time I got involved, I started dealing with that.
Still not quite addressing the question, Biden gives a few examples.
Redlining, banks, making sure that we are in a position where, look, we talk about education.
And he just changed the subject to education, particularly regarding poor people, which is kind of problematic given what he was asked. He never does address the subject of the question or his past remarks.
Triple the amount of money we spend, from 15 to 45 billion a year. Make sure that we bring in to help the teachers deal with the problems that come from home. Make sure that every single child does in fact have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school, not daycare, school. Play the radio, make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone, make sure the kids hear words. We should be allowing people to come here from Venezuela. I know Maduro. I'm the guy that came up with $740 million to see to it those 3 countries, in fact, change their system so people don't have a chance to leave. You're all acting like we just discovered this yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Hopefully, you've gained a bit more perspective on how and why presidential debates often produce very satisfying statements that often dance around the initial question that was asked. Thanks for watching this video today.
Thanks to Texas Southern University for hosting us tonight. It was a great crowd.
Thank you.
As well tonight. Thanks to you. Thanks to everyone at home. The debate was
I love that song that plays at the end. I'm not even sure I remember what it's called. I went looking for funny sounding music and found that, and it just seemed to fit. Make sure you have the record player on at night. Okay, guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. As always, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you found it useful. To get it out of the way, there were a couple of spelling errors in that video. I really should check the spelling before I stream these things, but one of the reasons why I do stream the latest videos before they're published is, one of the reasons why I do that is so that people can spot mistakes, so you guys can see it and find something wrong with it, whether it's a spelling error or an error in logic, or there's the music is too loud or anything. Anything that you think should be fixed or removed or whatever, you guys can make it known before it's published. And a few of you noticed that there were a couple of misspellings. The word licensing was misspelled, and homicide was misspelled in a hilarious way. It was spelled homicide. I'm not going to hear the end of that before the end of this live stream. Well. But hey, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I see, let's see, good video, haha, good night, mates. Oh wow, 700 plus people. I think that's a record. I don't think there's ever been more than 700 people, over 700 people in a live stream before on this channel. Welcome all. Amazing video, Yang Gang, there's been a lot of that. Good video, worst Dixieland music ever. Alright guys, now that the video's over, let's talk about it. Let's debate it if you have any disagreements with it, or objections, or just thoughts you'd like to make clear. And even if you don't disagree with anything that was said, make some arguments regarding the candidates, and the questions, and their answers. For those who don't know, I'm going to keep my eye on the live chat to find as many good questions and arguments as I can. But if anybody comments using the super chat, you're guaranteed a reply. That only seems fair. So, where to begin? Where to begin? There's a lot of comments here. I'm not gonna read. Yang Gang and Trump 2020 and make a Discord. Every friggin' stream somebody asks if there's gonna be a Discord. Currently, there isn't one, and there are no plans to make one. You can keep asking. After you've gotten the answer, that's your business. I don't mind. Now, is there anyone here who has any questions or arguments to be made regarding the video or the candidates, as long as it's related to the video? Obviously, there were some candidates that were not addressed at all. Biden, Warren, Harris, Klobuchar, Booker, and O'Rourke were noted in the video, but Castro, Yang, Bernie, his last name's Sanders, Bernie, and what was the fourth one I didn't talk? Oh, Buttigieg. Yeah, they were let off the hook. They weren't addressed. None of their answers were addressed in the video. And so if you support any of those four candidates, you're probably happy to see that they weren't picked on. Here's a question from Jace. Jace. That's new. Jace asks, what's the value in trying to make sense of arguments in these televised debates? Do you agree that the intent is to allow candidates to pander? Do I agree that the intent is to allow candidates to pander? I'm not quite cynical enough to think that that's why. I'm really not cynical enough to believe that that's why they happen. I don't think the reason why we have presidential debates is to just give them free publicity. I really do think that, well, look, let's put it this way. Even if this wasn't the idea, this still happens. The candidates are questioned, they're scrutinized, they're put on the spot. Now, that doesn't mean they can't get away, and this is where the responsibility of the citizens kick in. If someone running for president shows up at one of these debates, and somebody asks them about something that they... If somebody asks them about something they said that's damning, or if they ask them, you failed trying to do this the last time, how you know you're going to succeed next time, that candidate is going to try to weasel away. They are going to try to say something that pacifies the audience and sounds lovely and happy and sweet, and that causes us to forget what they were asked about in the first place. Excuse me. Our responsibility is to not fall for it. So, no, I don't think the intent of these debates is to just let the candidates pander. Obviously, they're going to try to do that, but that's not why they're broadcast. Okay, your first question, Jace, was what's the value in trying to make sense of the arguments in these televised debates? What's the value? They're running for president, man. That seems pretty important. I mean, the value in trying to make sense of what they say. First of all, I don't think it's fair to say that what the candidates said during that debate were even arguments in the first place. I think a lot of it was just them just expressing their point of view, what they stand for, what they don't stand for. And, well, I don't know. I guess if they explain why, that requires an argument. But the value in trying to make sense of what they say is because they're running for the highest office in the country, and perhaps the most powerful position in the world. And they deliberately try to make what they say sound pleasant and vague, and they try to scrub our memories of the question they were asked often, so the value is to not let them get away with that. Thanks for the question, Jace, thank you for the questions. Now I see someone asking me what my thoughts are of a particular candidate and his policy positions. Let me just say it now, and I'm probably going to end up repeating it, but I'll say it at least once. I'm not going to take a position for or against any of the candidates, okay? I'll repeat it right away. I'm not going to take a stand for or against any of the candidates. I'm not going to say that this candidate's positions seem good or that candidate's positions would seem bad for the country. I'm not going to do that during this stream. I'm only interested in what the candidates said, the examples provided in the video, and how they tried to skirt the question. And how you or I or anyone else can try to spot that. Excuse me. Here's a comment from Jason. Jason says, I think it might help your videos' approachability to also use examples of Republicans sidestepping answers in the 2015 election. Just an idea. Well, yeah, of course it's literally just an idea. No, it's more than that. It's a suggestion, and I appreciate that, Jason. Naturally, with the current president being a Republican and being in his first term, there isn't going to be any Republican primary debates. Unfortunately, the ones in 2015 and 16 were sure entertaining, but the current president's only in his first term. He's running for re-election, so there won't be any Republican primary debates, which means if I make any content like this, I'm only going to be able to focus on Democrats. And that might seem a little unfair. But to your suggestion, Jason, just went full Sean Connery on you. To your suggestion, Jason. That was a terrible impression. To your suggestion, suggestion, Jason, it's not a bad idea. Practically speaking, the reason why Republicans were not brought up in this video was just because the video was already 13 minutes long, and it's not a political video. It's not a political video in the first place. Yes, this video only focused on Democrats, but it was really about politicians in general. At least I didn't try to make a video that was partisan. It's just that the Democratic Party is the only one of the two major parties having primary debates. Could I make another video where I scrutinize Republicans and what they said in 2015 and 2016? Of course I could. But that was 4 years ago. 3-4 years ago. So, I don't know. I'll say it again. Obviously I could. It's just not something that happened recently. You know, we know who wins the nomination in the Republican primaries in 2016. But, you know, I'll still consider what you said, Jason. I'll still consider... I'm also going to consider clearing all this phlegm out of my throat so you don't have to listen to me hack a lung up. Random Pool Guy says, you haven't mentioned My Little Pony. What? Friendship is magic. The show ended yesterday. Oh, do tell. No more new episodes. It's the bittersweet end of an era. Yeah, and apparently Fortnite died today too. Rest in peace. Not like I care about either thing, but what the hey, it happened and people are talking about it. So, as someone who manages a YouTube channel, why not throw him a bone? Thank you, Random Pool Guy, for putting My Little Pony on my radar. Now, here is $1 given by someone I don't know, and I don't know what they said because they retracted it. Whoever you are, thanks for the $1. Sorry that you decided you didn't want to say what you wanted to say after you paid it. Can I give this person a refund? I've never done that before. Is there a button for that? Let's see. Report? No. Put user in what? No. Hide? No. Add as a moderator? No. Oh, well. That's just $1. Well, thank you, whoever you were, and, just think twice next time you want to use the super chat, because I don't want anyone wasting their money on me. I'm not worth it. Technically, nothing's worth wasting your money on, or else it wouldn't be a waste. Is this semantics? I'm sorry. Moving on. Oh, here's another comment from Jason who says, even just a sentence noting that both sides do this. Yeah, Jason, it's a good idea. Again, I hope it is self-evident that the video itself is nonpartisan. It's not a political video. It's not meant to seem like it's rooting against Democrats and for Republicans. I hope that's self-evident. But in today's polarized climate, God, you hear a lot of that. In today's polarized political climate, it certainly couldn't hurt. Pardon me. Oh, you got to be kidding me. It happened again. Somebody gave $2 in the super chat and retracted the message. That has to be the same person. Whoever you are, why do you keep doing that? Also, did you know that you can send money in the super chat and just not say anything? Whoever you are, please stop doing that, because you're making me feel bad. Thank you all the same, but, stop sending money in the super chat and retracting your message. You're not getting your money's worth, obviously. James Frio says, do you think the existence of superdelegates in the Democratic Party makes these debates pointless anyway? Well, let me sort of provide not an answer to your question. Well, actually, sort of, I guess in a way, an answer to your question. I don't think anything. Repeat, I don't think anything makes these debates pointless. Okay? Nothing. As long as they happen and they're broadcast and we get to see them or listen to them, they're worth it. However, the question that you're asking, James, is do you think the existence of superdelegates in the Democratic Party makes the debates pointless? And I see your point. The idea that, from what I know about superdelegates, such a silly name. Did they really have to call them that? Couldn't they come up with something that would be less of a red flag? What I understand about superdelegates is that they have much more sway in determining who's going to win a state than anybody else. I mean, from what I understand, there's definitely an argument to be made that the existence of superdelegates is not a very democratic system. Now, I don't think it renders the debates pointless, but I think it could potentially render the voting pointless. Again, during the primary. Yeah, I really don't have anything brilliant to say about the superdelegates. I don't see the value in them. I know how they function, and I can imagine that powerful people and people in high places would want superdelegates to exist, but it doesn't seem very democratic. And given the fact that presidents, at least in the United States, given the fact that the president is already indirectly elected, why render the democracy even less direct? But who knows? Maybe somebody can make an argument in favor of the superdelegates. I've never heard it, but maybe somebody could. By the way, I hadn't finished reading this comment yet. James goes on to say, he says, do you think the existence of superdelegates in the Democratic Party makes these debates pointless anyway? No, but perhaps the voting. It's just a way, James goes on to say, it's just a way for rich people to influence elections. Yeah, I kind of already hinted at that, didn't I? Yeah. Do the does the existence of superdelegates in any way represent or aid or fulfill the concept of a democratic election? Can you make that argument? If you can't, then there seems to be no use for them to exist. If they don't, they either are assist in the election or undermine the elections. I kind of went in circles on that one, but hopefully I did eventually strike the bullseye. Thanks for the question, James Frio. Now here's a question from Captain Warston. Captain asks, do you think this style of political discourse could be fixed to be more honest and straightforward? Good question. He or she goes on to say, I think it would go a long way to help informing voters. Well, yeah, of course it would. Of course it would. But the question is, do I think this style of political discourse could be fixed to be more honest and straightforward? No, I don't think it can. I don't think the reason that, when we see these politicians, in this case during, let's say, the third Democratic primary debate, as an example, but in general, when you see politicians, presidential candidates, dodging and skirting and dancing around questions during a debate, I don't think that's a bug in the system. I don't think that's a defect. I think that's just the way it inherently is. And let me explain what I mean. If you're a politician and you fail to accomplish something, or you said something in the past that is very damning or embarrassing, or is not in line with your party nowadays, or if you hold a sincerely held opinion that is not in lockstep with your party, what would happen if you were honest? Let's think about this. If you fail to do something, fail to accomplish something, or if your honest opinion is in opposition with the party and you're asked about it, what's going to happen if you answer honestly? If you say, yeah, I screwed up last time I tried to do that. Sorry, I don't really know how I'm going to get it right next time. Or if you say, yeah, I don't really agree with my party on that issue. I think all my fellow Democrats or Republicans are wrong about this. What's going to happen if you're honest? You're probably not going to win. You're not going to win. Let's take Elizabeth Warren, for instance. She was asked if taxes were going to go up to pay for Medicare for all, and she didn't give a straight answer. She didn't say, yes, taxes will go up. Why? Well, could it be that she worries that Trump or some other Republican will take that footage and put it in their ad? You know, they'll play the question of George Stephanopoulos, whatever the hell his name is, asking, will taxes go up? And then play the clip of her saying, yes, they will. It's possible that she worried that that clip would be used in ads against her, and that's why she didn't give a direct answer. This is politics. This is politics. You're less likely to win an election if you give honest answers to your failures or to your disagreements with the party orthodoxy. So you asked me, Captain Worston, if this can be quote unquote fixed. No, it can't be fixed, and it's not broken in the first place. This is just the way that politicians articulate themselves. It's natural. Nothing can undo this. This is politics. So it's up to us. It's not realistic. I'm so sorry. I keep clearing my throat. It's not realistic to ask our politicians to just be more honest. We know why they're not honest. They don't want to damage their electability. So it's us. It's on us. We have to pay close attention. We have to consider once, twice, 3 times over what they're saying. We have to see through it, be a little jaded, be a little cynical, be very intelligent and patient. And that way everything will be all right. But is there a way to make politicians more honest and straightforward? No. Because if they were, they'd be less likely to get elected, and no one has to be happy about that, but that's just the way it is. Now here is a comment from Francisco, who says, no refund! Exclamation point. Huh? No message, and it was an oops. Francisco, are you the person who sent 2 separate super chats and then retracted what you said? Francisco, no refund, no message, and it was an oops. There are a few comments about Warren reframing what's considered a right-wing question, pointing it out. Okay, all right. Well, that's another explanation for why Elizabeth Warren didn't give a straight answer. If I can play the devil's advocate, and why not? I manage a channel called Counter Arguments. If I can play the devil's advocate, Elizabeth Warren, if she's asked if taxes will go up to pay for Medicare for all, she could still just give a straight answer if that's the truth, and sort of attach an upside to it that she could say, I think Bernie Sanders has made this argument before, and it seems like a good enough argument. Basically, what he says is, yes, your taxes are going to go up, but you're not going to be paying for your health insurance anymore. So Elizabeth Warren could make that argument. Now, again, we can debate, we can argue over how good of an argument that is, but at least it's more honest. Nevertheless, politics is politics, and Elizabeth Warren apparently was reframing a right-wing question, so some would argue, and I can see why they would argue that. Well, thanks for bringing that up, Francisco. Let's see. Oh my God, I missed the super chat. Damn it, I hate it when that happens. I guarantee to reply. I said I guarantee to reply to anyone who used it, and I always miss someone. I missed Lim. I can't pronounce that. And the question is Islam right about women? Great video, by the way. What? Why are you asking me that? Is Islam right about women? Okay, I forgot to say this earlier. I should have said that. I should have said this at the top of the live stream. Please, please, please keep your questions relevant to the subject of this stream. In this stream, we're talking about the latest video that was produced for this channel. which analyzed various questions and answers at the last Democratic debate. For those of you who tuned into this live stream within the last 20 minutes, you missed it. Go back to the beginning of this live stream. Start it from the beginning, or a few minutes in. The latest video for this channel was played during this live stream, and that's what we're talking about now. And I hope that all further questions are relevant to that video. I really do not want to entertain the question of whether or not Islam is right about women. So please keep this on the rails. Because I'm not prepared to answer just any question in the world into a microphone on the internet. Because look, it's a matter of preparation. I don't want to give anyone a half-baked thought on a serious issue and get myself in deep shit. That's the second time now during this stream that I've cussed. And most of you don't care, but I'll try to knock that off. Now here is another question from Random Pool Guy. Oh my god. Random Pool Guy, aren't you the same person who mentioned My Little Pony earlier? Random Pool Guy says, so here we go again with another irrelevant question. Do you think Princess... What? Princess Twilight Sparkle will fund universe... Okay, that's it. Random Pool Guy, if you comment again with any My Little Pony questions, you're wasting your money, man. I'm not reading them. It's funny. This is funny, but one more time and it's officially going to get old. So please knock it out. Or you don't have to stop, but I'm not going to read them anymore. Princess Twilight Sparkle. Oh my god. Okay, here's a question from Alex who asks, do you think there should be a swimsuit competition portion of the debates? Why do I bother? Why do I bother? Yes. All right, Alex. Was that worth $5? It's not for me to decide, but you asked and I answered. Do I think there should be a swimsuit competition? Yes, I do, and Biden should go first. He is the front runner. Oh, is he? He might not be anymore. Someone named Max says, Random Pool Guy asking the real questions. Yep. I didn't even finish it. Do you think Princess Twilight Sparkle will fund universal basic friendship through increased tariffs on the Griffin Nation? And I don't know what that is because I'm not a brony, but that was really funny, man. Please stop doing it because I'm not going to entertain any more of those questions, but that was really funny. Scrumptious says, notice me or else I will retract my statement. Okay. Done. That was easy. Scrumptious. What a great name. Let's see. Now, there's no more comments in the super chat, so now I'm going to go back to the pleb chat. And that's an inside joke. Someone who's participated in live streams before can explain that one. I'm in the pleb chat now, reading what you plebs think. Here's a question from Vision Vampire, who asks, who says, I may have missed this question, but how would one answer a question based purely on their party's previous failure? Well, you didn't miss that, Vision Vampire. That hasn't been asked yet. Good question. And you must be referring to Cory Booker. Cory Booker was, during the third Democratic debate, was asked, let's back up a bit. Cory Booker has proposed having to have a federal gun license to obtain a gun. Now, that would require Congress passing legislation. And so Cory Booker was asked in the debate, if Democrats can't pass background checks, referring to a failed attempt by the party to pass background checks back in... When was that? 2013, 14? Basically, a few years ago, during the Obama administration, the Democratic Party tried to pass legislation that would require background checks, and they failed. The Republican Party slapped it down. So Cory Booker, who wants there to be a federal license to obtain a gun, was asked during the debate, how will the Democratic Party accomplish this if they can't, in Congress, if they can't pass background checks? And Vision Vampire is asking, how would one answer a question based purely on their party's previous failure? Which is a pretty good question in and of itself. And it's kind of, I don't know. I get, you could probably make an argument that it's kind of dopey to ask a presidential candidate that question, because if someone's running for president, they're running for president. They're not running. They're not running for Congress. They're running. The president is the executive branch. Congress is the legislative branch. So it is. I guess there's an argument to be made that it's kind of unfair to ask somebody running for president how Congress is going to accomplish something. But there's also the understanding that presidential candidates often don't give straight answers anyway. So, if anything, it's just an opportunity to see what they might say. They're probably not going to have a simple straight answer, because politics is like a chess game. So there is no straight answer. If you ask somebody, how are you going to win this game of chess, you can't just say, oh, well, I'll just move my knight here and I'll put these 3 pawns forward and then I'll wait for them to move the bishop over. You can't just say that. There is no straight, simple answer to how you're going to win a game of chess. And just the same, there is no simple, straight answer as to how you're going to achieve some sort of political victory. But the least that you can say, if somebody asks you to account for your party's failure, the least that you can say is something. It would be kind of vague and meaningless, but you could just say something like, yeah, we failed to make the argument last time. We didn't have enough of our members of our party elected. The other party had a majority. We should have had the majority. We should have done a better job making the argument. We should have gone onto more TV shows, onto more news networks. We should have promoted this more. Something like that. I mean, at least it would have seemed a little bit more honest than what Cory Booker said, which was that we need to awaken a more courageous empathy. That really doesn't mean anything. To anyone who just tuned in lately, the latest video for the channel was streamed earlier. And if you'd like to see it, just go to the beginning of this live stream, go a few minutes in, and check it out, and then come back live and chat about it with us. And for anyone else who doesn't know, if you comment in the super chat, you're guaranteed a reply. Now, does this look infected? That was a pretty good album. Gamers Rise Up. You see, now this is why I can't. I have to neglect most of these comments. Does anybody have a comment or a question or an argument related to the video itself? And try to ask a nonpartisan question. Someone here is asking, will Democrats stop crying about the last election long enough to la 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 la? I'm really not interested in those sorts of questions. Does anyone have a comment or an argument related to the video, which analyzed various dodged questions? Wow, a lot of these questions are ridiculous. They're they're really funny, but I'm not going to read them on the stream. Oh, before I forget, anyone listening to this, anyone tuned into this live stream who's a member of this channel at the desk level or higher, stick around, because after this live stream, there's going to be another live stream, a members only live stream, which you can access through the community tab. This hasn't happened before, but I thought it would be a good idea to host members only live streams after the public live streams, because that's one of the perks you get. For those who don't know, if you're a member of this channel at the desk level or higher, you get access to members only live streams. So it only makes sense to have them after the public ones, doesn't it? Now here is a question from Alex. I think that's the same Alex from earlier. And Alex asks, do you think there should be or could be some sort of standardized aptitude test for presidential candidates that would clarify their stances and their ability to be an effective president? Well, I would like to think that I guess I think there should be. I mean, why not? An attempt to clarify their stances? Sure, I think that should happen. But could it happen? And that is a different question. Could you come up with some sort of standardized aptitude test for presidential candidates that would clarify their stances? Well, I don't know. That would be nice, but I don't know how you would do that. Because if the candidates themselves are not going to make themselves clear, then who else is going to do it? Well, here's the answer. Somebody else. Someone who is not the candidate. And that's tough, man. That's really tricky. If Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris, if they don't make their position, if neither they nor anyone on their staff makes their stance clear on a particular issue, then that means that someone who is not the candidate or is not working for the candidate has to try to do that themselves. And that doesn't seem fair, especially if that person is biased. I mean, if Kamala Harris is asked where you stand on issue X and she doesn't answer the question, then you or I or anyone else could try to clarify that, but it would just be speculation. It would just be us sitting. It would be like watching CNN. We would just be sitting around going, well, I think she would take this position. I think she'd take that position. I think she'd like to take this position, in theory, but if she was elected, I think she'd actually do that position. It's hopeless. The only person who can make a candidate's position clear is the candidate. If they don't do it, then the best we can do is just not vote for them. That's the best we can do. So to answer your questions, Alex, do I think we should do that? Yes, but I don't think we could. I don't think it's possible. So I guess technically that's 2 no's, not a yes and a no. If we can't do it, we shouldn't try. But it's a nice idea, if only we could. If only we could. Okay, here is a question from... I can't pronounce that. Caligulove. For all I know, that's probably easy to pronounce. It's just a smushing together of a couple of words, but I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not going to try. I'll call you Callie. And I'm going to clear my throat. Whew. God. I had no idea I'd be doing so much of that. I tried to clear my throat before the stream, and it seemed fine. Turned out it wasn't. Boom, boom, boom. Here's the question from Callie, who asks, is the debate format obsolete when it comes to understanding politicians' positions? Is it obsolete? He or she goes on to ask, wouldn't long-form conversations with each candidate be better? Okay, let me answer your second question. I'm going to answer your second question first. Wouldn't long-form conversations with each candidate be better? No, I really don't think so. I think that even if you... I think, personally, I think I would like that format more, but that's not going to keep the candidates from being vague and wishy-washy, if that's what they want to be. Think about it. If you sit down with one of the candidates, you don't have a debate with 10 of them at once. If you just sit down with one candidate and have a one-on-one conversation with them, and you ask them a question that they don't want to answer, what are they going to do? They're going to do the exact same thing they do in the debates. They're going to say they're going to waffle around and skirt the question and say stuff to distract you. And yeah, it might be easier to pin them down if there's no audience to cheer or applaud. If you don't have other candidates who you need to share the stage with, yeah, it might be easier to run them down and kind of put them in a corner. But at the end of the day, you can only ask these people the question so many times, and if they're just not going to answer it, they're not going to answer it. There's nothing you, as the person asking the question, can do about that. You just have to hope that the people watching notice that they didn't answer the question, and hope that the people who are unimpressed with the dodge don't vote for them. So that's my answer to the second question. Would long-form conversation with each candidate be better? Maybe, but probably not by much. A politician can dodge a question in any forum. Any forum. They don't have to be anywhere in particular to dodge a question. They can do it anywhere. To your first question, though, is the debate format obsolete when it comes to understanding politicians' positions? Well, like, in a way, I guess I just, in a roundabout way, I think I already answered your first question. Politicians can dodge questions regardless of the format. So personally, I don't think the debate format is obsolete. Politicians have always done this. I mean, this has always been the case. Politicians have always danced around questions, at least the ones they don't want to answer. That's not a new thing. So it's not like debates recently went out of fashion. If they're obsolete now, they always were. And personally, I don't think they are. I really don't. They can be kind of useless. They can be, 1, 2, 3 hours long, and most of the answers from most of the candidates can be just baloney. But it's still valuable, man. It's still valuable. We have to keep these people in the hot seat. If somebody wants to be president, they should be put on a stage in front of an audience and be asked hard questions. It's our responsibility to tune in, to watch, to pay close attention, and notice when a presidential candidate doesn't answer a question. That's our responsibility. Just because they don't answer the questions doesn't mean there's no point in having them. And if we stopped having them, we let them off easy. And that's no good. I'm certainly not in favor of that. Why let them off easy by not having any more debates? Here's another question from Francisco, who says, shout out to Snow's comment. Snow. Okay, who's Snow? Let's see. Are you Francisco, are you referring to someone named Snow S? Because if you are, I'm looking right at him. Snow S said, shouldn't we stop encouraging politicians to lie by accepting it's natural for them to do so? Huh? Thank you, Francisco. You're amazing. Okay, Snow S. Did you say something earlier that I should have but didn't notice? Shouldn't we stop encouraging politicians to lie by accepting it's natural for them to do so? Would that encourage them not to lie? What, like if at the beginning of the debate we said, okay, we know you're full of shit and we don't care, they wouldn't be full of shit? I don't understand the logic there, but it's possible I just didn't understand what you said. And at any rate, Snow S, you got some attention, thanks to Francisco, who paid $2 for it. And I think that's money well spent, because I always appreciate it when people who have the disposable income to spend on the super chat, rather than asking their own question or making their own comment, shout out or promote comments that were not in the super chat, that were in the pleb chat. Ha ha ha. It's always cool when that happens, and you guys ought to give yourselves a pat on the back. Anyone who ever does that, thank you for being cool. Because I'm sure there are a lot of good questions and comments in the regular chat by people who just don't have the money to spend in the super chat. So anyone who tries to prop them up, way to go. You're awesome. Thank you for doing that. Okay, here's a question from Marty, who asks, could the moderators be asking bad questions? Well, yeah, I suppose that's possible, but it's also a matter of opinion, isn't it? I mean, I hate to sound like I'm getting technical on you, but you do have to define bad question. What constitutes a bad question? And that's not a rhetorical question, but no, really, that's not. It's not. When I ask, what do you mean by a bad question? I'm sure there's an answer, and I'm sure you or someone else in the world could provide a criteria of what qualifies as a bad question, and I'd consider that criteria. So, to answer your question, Marty, yeah, it's possible that the moderators didn't ask good questions. Personally, I thought for the most part they asked good questions, the ABC anchors, during the third debate. I thought they did a pretty good job asking questions. But, is it possible they asked bad questions? Well, of course it is. Of course, there's another question. If the moderators do ask a bad question, does that excuse the candidate dodging it? That's not a rhetorical question either. So, just kind of throwing that out there. Good question, Marty. Thanks for asking it. James again. James asks, how can we get ranked voting implemented? Good question. Congress, I guess. How do you get anything accomplished in this country? Well, let me be more specific. How do you get any law passed or any sort of legislative reformation? Through Congress. You get a majority in the House. It goes to the Senate. They vote on it there. It goes to the president's desk. He signs it into law, and the Supreme Court decides that it's constitutional. You know, all the stuff you learn in social studies class, in third grade. That's how you get ranked voting implemented. And it kind of sort of seems like a long shot. But, as long as there is enough people as long as there are enough people who want it, as long as there's a strong enough campaign, as long as enough politicians are in favor of it, it's never impossible. It's never impossible. It's never impossible in a democratic republic. Obviously, we do not live, anyone who's in the United States, obviously we do not live in a direct democracy. We live in an indirect democracy. We vote for representatives, and they should represent our interests. So how can we get it? By persuading them. And lobbying. Yeah, you probably have to do that too. It really does seem like a long shot, because I'm sure there are a lot of people in power who don't want that. It would just make it harder for them to get reelected. Well, it's never impossible, though. Okay, now, this stream has gone on exactly an hour. I'm going to keep it chugging along for about five, maybe 10 minutes, and then I'll wrap it up, and then begin the members-only chat, which I mentioned earlier, but I'll mention again. If you're a member of this channel at the desk level or higher, after this live stream, head on over to the community tab. You should know, if you're a member of the channel at any level, you really should know where that is. It's right on the main channel page, videos, playlists, community. Just click on that. And if you're a member of the channel at the desk level or higher, you will find that you have access to a members-only stream, which I'm going to fire up just after this one ends. So stop on by, and chances are there'll only be like a dozen of you, so you'll all get a little bit of attention, and we can further discuss the video or anything you like. The Accidental Poet said, Constitutional Republic, FTFY. Could somebody explain to me what FTFY is short for? It looks familiar, but I can't remember. Okay, now here's another comment from Snow S. Who says, you said that we should accept it's natural for politicians to lie. Isn't that providing encouragement for politicians to continue lying? Well, Snow S, yeah, it might be, but I think that's a moot point, because politicians are going to continue lying no matter what. So if I'm encouraging politicians, if my argument encourages politicians to continue lying, if they were going to continue lying anyway, then that kind of seems like a moot point. It's kind of like, this is kind of a sloppy analogy, but it'd be kind of like hopping in a boat on a river and rowing downstream and asking, don't you think this is just going to keep the water flowing downstream? Yeah, perhaps rowing a boat downstream will keep the water flowing downstream, but it would do that anyway, whether you were rowing the boat or not. So, yeah, I see your point, Snow S, but I really don't think it makes a difference, because my argument is that politicians are going to lie, and because they have incentives to lie. So, am I going to encourage them to do that by making that argument? That's neither here nor there. They're going to do it anyway. Also, I missed a Hardy Hat super chat. No! Oh no! I missed a super chat. God, how do I keep doing that? How hard could it possibly be to keep an eye on all the... Oh my God, that really sucks. I gotta come up with a better way of keeping this all sorted out. Did I miss a super chat from Hardy Hat? Because if that's true, Hardy Hat, if you're still tuned into this live stream, whatever it was you said in the super chat, just say it again in the regular chat. You don't have to pay. I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm going to keep my eye out for your name. And if anybody else knows what Hardy Hat said, you can just type it yourself. Hardy Hat, God, I hope that person's still there. I am so sorry that I missed the super chat. I said I would respond to all of them. Oh, Hardy Hat, there you are. I'm still here. Okay, Hardy Hat, type your question again, and do not type it in the super chat. You don't have to pay again. Just type it in the regular chat, and I'm gonna catch it this time. And Snow S, if you're still listening, thank you very much for pointing that out. Thanks for making me aware of that. Okay, Hardy Hat. Waiting for Hardy Hat. Also, I kind of just like saying Hardy Hat. Someone going by the name of Funny Pig Run said, "Hi, I'm Hardy Hat. I have a question." Nice try. Snow S says you're most welcome. Yeah, thanks again, man. Okay, waiting on Hardy Hat. There it is. Hardy Hat says, my question was, do you think a moderate independent like the president from Designated Survivor would have a chance at winning? Huh? I'm sorry. I don't think I know who that is. The prez from Designated Survivor. Ah, crap. I don't even know. I'm not sure how to answer that question because I don't know who that is. The prez from Designated Survivor? Someone's got to fill me in on that. And it doesn't have to be Hardy Hat. It can be anyone. Do you think a moderate independent like the prez from Designated Survivor, whoever the hell that is, would have a chance at winning? Okay, well, let me answer the question, do you think a moderate independent has a chance at winning? I don't think an independent has a chance at winning, regardless of whether or not they're a moderate. And I'm not happy to say that. I wish that wasn't what I thought. I wish they did have a chance, but they don't. It is mathematically impossible for a person running for president on a third party's ticket to win. It is mathematically impossible. Let's think of it as an equation. If you have a right-wing candidate and a left-wing candidate, and let's just say for the sake of argument that that's really what you have. If the Democrats nominate a progressive and the Republican Party nominates a conservative, and somebody runs on a third-party ticket, they will cannibalize the votes of the candidate they have the most in common with. My favorite example, by far my favorite historical example is Teddy Roosevelt. For those of you who don't know, Theodore Roosevelt was president on the Republican president from 1901 to 1909. And then he decided not to run for a third term, which he could have if he wanted to. But he decided not to run. He regretted that decision, and then he decided to run in, I guess that would have been 1912, I think, 1911 or 12. He decided to, or 1913. Teddy Roosevelt ran for president on a third party's ticket, and he didn't win. Now, this guy is one of the 4 presidents whose face was carved into Mount friggin' Rushmore. If Teddy Roosevelt cannot get elected president running on a third party, it cannot be done. It's mathematically impossible. That is under first past the post voting. See, that's the reason why it's mathematically impossible. It's not necessarily because there's something cursed about it. It's just because of the voting system. If you have a first past the post voting system, you really can only have 2 nominees. If you have 3 or more, you're just guaranteeing that whoever gets the most votes wins. So it just doesn't make sense to run an independent for president. Now, if you change the voting system, then they'll have a chance. Then it will not be mathematically impossible, just as long as you change the voting system. Now, let's see. Was there anyone here who explained what Prez from Designated Survivor was? Designated Survivor is a Netflix show. Oh, okay. Well, that's a work of fiction, all right, because an independent cannot run for president in the United States and win. It is mathematically impossible in a first-past-the-post voting system. At least that's the argument that I would make. And if anybody wants to challenge that, oh, no way. Snow S just became a member. Welcome to the channel, Snow S. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody, I don't know what. I was just about to say hi to Snow S. That doesn't make sense. He's been in the chat for a while now. But just congratulate him. Say, way to go, Snow S. I already thanked you once for promoting a super chat that I missed, and now I'm thanking you again for being a member. Thank you very much. All right, guys, the stream has been going now. I don't think there's a better way I could cap it off than that. Hey, check it out, Snow S. Your name is green. All the other plebs have gray names. Yours is green. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, that's right. Snow S and I are looking down on the rest of you. Ha, ha, ha. I'm kidding. I'm just goofing around here. This stream has been going now for an hour and 10 minutes, and that's long enough. Anyone who is a member of this channel at the desk level or higher, stick around. Well, don't stick around here. Go back to the channel and go to the community tab, where you will find a members-only live stream. You do have to be a member of the channel at the desk level or higher to have access to it, just so you know. And if you're currently tuned into the stream and you are at that level, if you're on the level, yo, I'll see you there. For everybody else, thank you very much for tuning in to this live stream. I'm always glad that, frankly, that anybody stops by and wants to watch the videos I make and wants to talk about them. I'd be happy if anybody showed up, so thank you for stopping by. And see if you can make it back next week. There should be live streams on this channel every Sunday. The last few were missed, and I'm sorry about that. I wish they weren't, but they were. Stop by next Sunday for another public live stream. Oh, another member. Alex. Alex is a member of the channel now. Welcome, Alex. Good timing. I was just about to end the stream. I would have had a chance to welcome you at least into the microphone. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, Snow S. Okay, one more time. Thank you guys for stopping by and listening and discussing this issue. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope to see you in the next week for the next live stream. All right, all members at the desk level, go over to the community tab. I'll see you soon. And for everybody else, I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.